then I would say here. Hello and welcome. You're watching IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live conversation web television. This is one portal where all of you can participate even as we speak. You can just send in a participation request to us if you want to join the conversation. Otherwise, the conversation carries on the portal through your posts, your tweets, and of course your audio comments and your video comments. Today is the 1st of August, and well, what a horrendous July it has been for the city of Bangalore. 5 rape cases that have come out in the media in 1 month. So before we actually engage and before we go on to the conversation, first I would like to bring you an infographic which gives you a little bit of information about the 5 rape cases that have come out. Of course, the first one occurred right, on the 2nd of July, where a 6-year-old school child was assaulted in her very own school, an elite school called Vibjor, and 2 gym instructors were arrested. There was a skating instructor who was arrested and child pornography was found, but the direct involvement was later ruled out. On the 11th of July, a 22-year-old postgraduate student was gang raped in her car. She was with her friend in the car and 4 people came in. One of them, allegedly a BSP leader's son, was arrested. Then on July 16th, a 15-year-old girl, again a minor, she was undergoing training to become a nun. She was sedated and raped by 2 strangers in the seminary. No arrests have been made yet. There was a knock on the door, they sprayed something on her and they raped her. On the 29th of July, an 11-year-old girl allegedly raped by a 53-year-old temple priest who was a family friend. The priest, who had subsequently fled the house, was arrested by the police once her parents called for help. And couple of days back, on the 30th of July, a 7-year-old child was allegedly raped in her maidservant's home in the city. The maidservant had picked her up to drop her back home, but had just gone to her own house to do some chores, and the maidservant's son came into the house and raped her. Okay, so these are some very horrific incidents. As you can see, 5 cases in 1 month that have been reported in the media, 4 of them involving minors, little children. So we are going to talk about what is happening to Bangalore. Is Bangalore the new rape capital of India? Well, of course, the National Crime Records Bureau does not really suggest that, but definitely these figures are horrendous. I have with me in the studio former journalist and now entrepreneur Vidya Deshpande. Thank you so much, Vidya, for joining the conversation.
Thank you for inviting me here. And since Bangalore is my home city,
absolutely, that is why Bangalore is my home city too. We all feel very strongly about it, and definitely, I'm sure we are here to all share our anguish on what's happening to that city. I also have with me a PhD student from JNU, Abhiruchi Ranjan. Abhiruchi, thank you so much for joining the conversation. May I ask what your subject is? Your PhD?
Political studies.
Political studies.
Yeah.
All right. She also is very vociferous on this whole matter. I'm sure she'll have lots of things to say. Also, we have online guests. We have 2 young women from Bangalore. One is Vijay Lakshmi and her friend Malavika. Hi to both of you and welcome to the conversation. One of you is a mother, right?
Yeah, I am.
That's okay.
That's me. I have a 10-year-old son.
You have a 10-year-old son. All right. And both of you are working professionals in Bangalore.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. It's a pleasure having you. I would like to invite my next online guest as well, Dhanya. Dhanya Rajendran is a journalist and she's the managing editor of the News Minute. Dhanya, thank you so much. Welcome to India Post Live once again.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so let's begin. And in fact, I would like to point out that of the 6 women we have on this show, 5 are Bangaloreans. So you can expect a lot of emotional outburst here coming from the city, which was once considered to be one of the safest cities to be in, Vidya.
That's true, because I still remember that when we were kids, we used to go cycling to school.
Yes.
We used to go cycling to college.
Yes.
We used to drive two-wheelers around the city.
Yes. I have done all of that as well.
Yeah, and I don't think my mother was ever worried that something would happen to me. But
Absolutely.
if I lived in Bangalore today, I don't really know whether I would allow my child to go on his own on a cycle or a two-wheeler.
Right. What is happening to the city? I mean, of course, rapes occur as the NCRB reports are out. It still says that Delhi is high on rape. Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, but Bangalore suddenly, all of a sudden, from being Silicon City, I mean, it's suddenly become the spate of rapes that are happening in the city is shocking. It's appalling, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think if we could also shift the focus a little on the spaces that we consider routinely safe,
Yes.
and whether we can now, I mean, we need to rethink our conception of the space of schools, spaces which we consider sacred, or public transport, as was very evident in the 16 December rape case also.
Yeah.
And the whole discourse of safety in the presence of a male counterpart, because the whole discourse about women's safety and rights seems to be surrounded by this, like, if you are protected by a male person, but the family, the home space, the school space is all about that kind of protection, but yet women and
Minors, yes,
children
Yes.
are being raped.
But in one of these cases, there was the girl in Frasertown. She was sitting with her boyfriend in the car,
Yeah.
and when she was abducted by these 5 men.
Yes.
So you're not really safe even if you have.
Even if you have a male.
Absolutely,
income.
that's exactly what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So that was again a very similar incident to what happened, but that was, they got into her car and then they drove off.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Vijay Lakshmi and Malvika, both of you have been Bangaloreans for quite a few years, haven't you? I think Malvika has lived in Bangalore all your life.
I think around 30, 35 years.
All right. I'm assuming that's almost all your life, okay? So tell us how it was growing up for you in Bangalore, and what exactly is the situation now? How do you feel when you go out to work? Do you feel unsafe? Do you feel men leering at you? Do you see men leering at you? How is that really in your city? Malvika.
When I was a kid, Bangalore was really safe. We used to, as it was said, we used to travel. We used to cycle around and then take the public transport. But then we never thought of rape or a physical abuse as a threat. But now, every time you get out of the house, the first thing is, will I be coming back home safe? That's an issue, and that's really disturbing. It's a tremendous change from what I was as a kid to now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Really disturbing.
Vijay Lakshmi, what about you, Vijay? What about you?
Yeah, see, I would think that earlier on I didn't have to have these antennas up all
Right.
the time, wondering, okay, who's watching me? How are the looks like? I mean, is somebody likes to attack me? That kind of a thought wasn't there at all. I mean, I studied in Bangalore for a few years, and then I've been working for quite a few years now. But then during that time, at least the initial phase of it, we never thought about people looking at you in a different form, a different way of looking at you.
When did you notice the
Now
change?
it's-
When did you notice the change? How many years back? How many years back was this?
I would say it's been more in the last 1-2 years or 3 years at the most. But before that, it was okay. I mean, at least maybe we didn't come to know of it so much more earlier. But now it's like it's there. It's almost like staring at you on the face.
Vidya, Vijay Lakshmi says it's been happening to her for, she's been seeing the change only in 3 years. Why do you think that has happened? Can we really pinpoint?
I don't think you can really pinpoint like that, except that there's been a lot of urbanization there, and the traffic is much higher, the buses are more crowded, and
Definitely an influx of more and more people
absolutely,
into the
yeah,
city.
more people have been coming into the city, and you can't really blame it all on people coming from outside the city.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, definitely, because there's much more people there than so earlier. I mean, you could go on a two-wheeler and not feel threatened. Like, I remember driving a two-wheeler when I first came to Delhi, and people would always ask me, my God, how can you do this? This in the city is not safe.
Yes.
But now it's the same thing I can say about Bangalore.
Yeah, I have not visited. Malvika, you wanted to say something?
Bangalore, for the past 5 years, it's become a IT hub.
Yeah.
The IT companies are mushrooming everywhere, and because of which the call centers have come up, and the call centers have different work timings. Because of that work timings, women are more vulnerable to such threats, the rapes or abuses, anything.
But isn't it the responsibility? Isn't it the responsibility of the government, the police to take care? I mean, if there are BPOs that are catering to a different time zone, then obviously security will have to be provided to these women.
Exactly. But what happens is the security is provided after an incident
Exactly.
happens.
Yes. Yes.
It is not as a precautionary measure, but it is to curb something that's going to happen in future with reference to what has already happened. So that women should be, I don't think as a woman here in Bangalore, I would like to rely on a security or a person who is with me, but I should be able to defend myself. So I think the first and foremost priority is how equipped I am if there is an abuse of any kind.
Okay, but what about how do we protect our children? How do we protect our children, Abhiruchi? I mean, she's of course talking about you. I guess for a woman, a bit of martial arts, pepper sprays, something, mobile phones. But how does a 6-year-old child or a 7-year-old child protect herself?
I still thought that we were kind of still missing the point in the discussion that we had so far, because we were still also talking about the security provided by the state and the police, but we're missing the point, the fact that the cases we've listed so far are about children at home being tempered with by members of the family, people known to them at the school, people who are close to them, or by some distant relatives who are known to their parents and family. The point being that, are we teaching our kids about their own body? Are we giving them sex education, in other words? Are we telling them what is a good touch and what is a bad touch?
Right.
So I think the problem is not only, of course we can talk about better security, and also I think another problem is I think when we get to know of more cases related to sexual violence, is it that the cases are on a rise, or is it that they're being reported more only now? So also another trend is rising of people getting more and more aware, which is good. So in these urban areas that we are witnessing an increase of cases of sexual violence could also be a result of more reporting of these cases, or more awareness among people. But I think the second thing, the thing that I mentioned formerly, I think we need to discuss it a bit more about the spaces of home, the family members, and what we're teaching our kids.
In fact, a few days back we had a show on pedophilia. In fact, after this skating instructor story came out, and of course, you know that the Ministry of Women and Child Development report of 2007, 53% of children in India have been at some point in their lives been sexually abused. It could be any kind of abuse, but they have been sexually abused. So that's 1 in 2, right? And it is 70% of them are known to the victims. The uncles, the family friends, relatives. So, but the point we are discussing, Abhiruchi, is Bangalore, and somehow,
we've known it as a city that was safe and that you could go out late at night and not be worried. But that is changing now. It's earning a reputation like
It's
Delhi.
earning a different reputation, which is what the concern is. Dhanya, we've finally have you back. We had lost you for a second in between. Okay, Dhanya, your comments on this entire thing. We have been talking about, of course, with a lot of anguish about Bangalore. You have been living in Bangalore for a few years now. I can tell you, I have been born and brought up there. So has Vidya. And we are very anguished, extremely anguished women out here who want to know what has gone wrong in the city.
First, I disagree with the line a bit, if I can just explain.
Yeah.
The Fraser Town rape, like Vidya pointed out, definitely is a gaping hole in Bangalore security. For example, it happened in one of the, upmarket residential commercial area of Bangalore where this girl was waiting. And that too, it happens near Mosque Road, which is quite active in the nights as the Ramzan season was going on.
Right.
So that definitely came as a shocker. And let's also not forget that it was a Home Minister's constituency, the Home Minister of Karnataka. But as far as a rape of the 6-year-old child goes in the school, I don't think that's got anything to do with the city. In fact, many rapes in schools, upmarket, government schools, small schools are reported all across the country. If you go to any NGO working with children on child sexual abuse, they can tell you the number of cases which come to them of children getting sexually abused or even raped by teachers, by own parent, by grandparents, by uncles. But I think in this case, everyone went just ballistic with the entire thing. The police not responding for 3-4 days, that added to the ire and the irritation.
Right.
And the protest, of course, in Bangalore. I don't think that has anything to do with the city as such. In child molesters and child sexual abusers, they're everywhere.
Absolutely, Dhanya. While I completely agree with you there, I would still like to point out, what I said at the beginning of the show, that, in 1 month we've had 5 cases. Now that, of course, you being a part of the media, you will be aware that, this sends across a different kind of message. It's like, what is happening to that city? The city has been known for something else. Earlier when we were growing up, it was a garden city. Remember, Vidya? It used to be the garden city. Now, of course, all that's gone. Then it became the Silicon Valley of India. But what is happening today? 5 rape cases in 1 month, and excluding the 22-year-old girl, all of them were minors, be it the nun in training in the seminary, be it the 7-year-old girl in her maidservant's house, be it the 6-year-old child you were talking about, and an 11-year-old girl who was sexually assaulted by a temple priest who happened to be their family friend. So when these cases come out,
where a school staffer's son had raped a child. There's been a case yesterday also. There's been an arrest of a school staffer's son. But I think the whole point is that Bangalore as a city is definitely shaken with all these incidents happening for sure. But I think Bangalore as a city should also now wake up to the fact that child sexual abuse is a reality.
Right.
That it is happening in our city. We are not exactly as safe as we consider. We are not living in a happy, hunky-dory garden anymore. That it is a reality that we all of us have to face. As a parent, I need to speak to my child. I need to be aware that he could also be subject to certain kind of abuse. And I think people should now at least open their minds, open their brains to the fact that this really does happen.
Right, absolutely. In fact, that's a very...
Nilanjana, I was just looking at some statistics before coming in here. So this National Crime Records Bureau, there's a 2012 thing which says that Bangalore was the second highest against women, and it also said that this is for the 2nd year in a row. So this has been building up for a few years, that means. Since 2011 it's been...
Yeah, child sex abuse, Dhanya, we were just talking about the statistics again, that the Women and Child Development Ministry has come out with, 53% and 70% of them known to the victims. But yeah, what you raised, the point Abhiruchi also raised, is that probably there is more awareness and the need for awareness, which is why on one hand more and more cases are being reported, and on the other hand people need to really understand that this is a reality. Maybe this was something that we were ignoring and which was being swept under the carpet, but now the fact is that this is a reality and it needs to come out. But I can tell you, Dhanya, and of course you have also been witness to it, the city is angry, people are angry, IT professionals, parents, everybody is angry and they have taken to the streets. Yesterday, what was the response to the Bandh yesterday, the 12-hour Bandh that was called, Dhanya?
No, see, the Bandh was called by one of the groups who are famous for assailing, beating up people.
Okay.
I have absolutely no clue why, the city should come to a grinding halt for a group like that, which calls a Bandh. Right. But if I can just add a point here, there was this group which was started on Facebook called Win Bangalore Back and got a lot of support from Bangaloreans. in a day there were 15, 18,000 people joining. But I've seen that even in the group, it's this anger which is channeling. Even when there's a case of child sexual abuse, people sometimes are refraining from talking about real issues. Like somebody was asking, why did the mother not know for a week? The fact that 2/3 of children do not have physical injuries. You can get raped and you need not have any injury. This is a world statistic. But these are things which people are still not discussing. They are thinking about castrating the rapist or hanging him. But I think the time has now come to seriously speak about security and also
Right.
how are we going to deal with this in our households.
Absolutely, absolutely, Dhanya. And let me, in fact, there's been a lot of, like Dhanya pointed out, the Facebook page. There have also been a lot of tweets, angry tweets about Bangalore. And I would like to just show some of them to you. We have that on your screen. RSS leader calls for rape of women activist. Okay, that's one. Then you have rape is trending in India, but it is in Bangalore. It is getting trended every now and then. Shame against rape, of course. Bangalore Bandh. This was by Amrita. Okay, feeling proud to say that I stay in such a bad city, Bangalore, where people think extended nightlife is responsible for rape. All right, so these are some very, very strong tweets that are coming out. If you least care about crime against women, if you did, you wouldn't allow rape to become the next dowry law. All right, that's another one from Deepika Bharadwaj. Narendra Mishra, there needs to be a ban on alcohol as 90% of rape and accidents happen because of this. Deepika Bharadwaj. Okay, that's a response to, in fact, what she had said. Corruption engulfs India. Can it become a world? Okay, no, this is of course a different one. Okay, so these are some of the Twitter responses we've had. India today is all about India, Delhi, Mumbai, rape, whip. Where is humanity of so-called democracy? Okay, so Delhi, Bangalore is the new rape capital of India. See, this is what got us stuck, talking about this conversation, starting this conversation. Highlights widespread sexual abuse of children in India. This is something that Dhanya was just mentioning. Stop telling women how not to get raped. Teach men not to rape. Yeah, I think that's a very important thing that has come out. In fact, Vidya, I don't know if you're aware of this. Some men, yesterday they took to the streets saying that they have had enough of being told that women, by wearing so-called immodest and provocative clothes, attract rape. So they had held protests in the city wearing skirts. Yeah, I think that was a very good gesture, and they said, do not skirt the issue, tell men not to rape. I think that was a very nice, Malvika and Vijayalakshmi, let me ask you, of course, Dhanya said that what's the point of having these protests and all of that and bandhs for issues like this. The larger issue is ensuring security and, ensuring that we are more aware of the realities. But what was your response? What did you see Bangalore like yesterday? What was the effect of the bandh?
From what I gathered, I saw tweets, and in fact, when I came to work, it was a personal experience. More than the bandh, or we were all just glad the roads were empty.
Okay. Of course.
That the roads were empty, and how can calling a bandh solve an issue like rape or any other issue for that matter? I'm still. If you think that when I'm at home, if a kid can be raped or molested in school,
yes,
or if a kid can be raped or molested at home, then how can a bandh solve it if the kid is going to be at home?
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So the one thing that has worked here in Bangalore is drunken driving and helmets made mandatory. People are always worried they will be fined or the cops will catch them while using their mobile during traffic lights, or when they're very careful about wearing helmets and ensuring
so
that they don't drive.
Those things have worked. Those initiatives have worked. Okay.
Yeah, those things have worked. And then all these candle marches and protests, what would be workable is punishment of the rapist. And the rapist should think 100 times before even approaching or even thinking about rape. If trivial things, I'm not saying it's trivial. If the things like drunken driving and
Helmets.
helmets made mandatory have worked, I think even these things should work. Just that we need a lot of awareness,
Okay.
and laws should be made stringent.
All right, more stringent laws so that there is a lot of deterrent in these cases. Abhiruchi, yeah, sure.
I thought that the kind of protest you mentioned was, I think, amazing, because I thought more participation by men was extremely indispensable, especially because whenever there is some political action, it's always kind of considered to be like mad, angry feminists walking the streets and making a hullabaloo after about nothing much. But I think after this, also after the 16 December rape case protest, I think we saw that a lot of people, a lot of young students, a lot of men also
Partnering in the cause.
partnered in the cause, and there was an advanced political consciousness about gendered violence among people. And I think in this case also what we are seeing is, I think if the Bandh at least, I think, is a move towards a better political consciousness. And I think but we have also moved away from like victim blaming. That it must have been her fault,
Yeah.
or
You
there must
can't
have
really
been
do
something
that to a
wrong with the
child.
family,
Yes,
or
right.
the child. So I think that's a positive step.
All right, Vidya.
I had a question for people who are in Bangalore. Is there as much outrage as there was in Delhi after December 16th as there's been in Bangalore because of so many cases coming up?
Yeah, can you answer that, Vijay Lakshmi?
Are people angry with the city?
I think we saw like public outcry and protest in very large numbers for the first 6-year-old, first rape case where the 6-year-old
Yeah.
was raped. Because there was a protest march, and that was very successful. There were a lot of women there, and subsequently there were a couple of other protests as well. But then after that, I think it's been a little low. Yesterday's Bandh wasn't very, very effective, if you ask me.
Right. In fact, our alumni, Mount Carmel College, I believe the students of Mount Carmel College led a rally or a protest march or something but again that was centered on the 6-year-old child.
Okay.
That was centered around the case of in fact the police commissioner was also transferred out because they took time to arrest the perpetrators and all of that. But the fact that there have been so many, one after the other, that somehow I don't think has gained that kind of a momentum.
The collective rage of the city.
Collective rage of the city, which is why in fact one of the reasons we're having this conversation is probably to kind of tell everyone that this is something one should get angry about. And I can tell you, sitting in Delhi, Vidya and I, Vijay Lakshmi and Malvika, we are so angry and so anguished sitting here that how can this be happening to our city. I would request all Bangaloreans to please start talking about it and start spreading awareness about it, and please watch our previous conversations also on India Post Live. We had a very enlightening discussion on pedophilia itself, where in fact a psychologist from Bangalore told us about what you said, safe touch and unsafe touch, and the whole concept that children should not be taught to shame their bodies, to feel shame about certain parts of their bodies, but the fact that it should be kept covered, and if somebody misbehaves, immediately tell your mother. That was what had come out in the conversation. So I would like to wrap up the conversation now, but tell all of you that the conversation does continue on India Post Live through your posts, your tweets, and of course your audio and video comments. Thank you so much, Vijay Lakshmi and Malvika, for giving us your perspective as women living in Bangalore and how the city has changed. I hope we get our city back, we win our city back. Thank you so much, Vijay Lakshmi and Malvika. Dhanya is not with us online right now, but Dhanya also I would like to thank. And of course, Abhiruchi and Vidya Deshpande. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.